Drew Albaugh here with manager of the Walla Suites, Colby Watilo, for another edition of Countdown with Colby. There we go, finally. So you got the off day in there. We come back yesterday,
that's right.
and we do it right. All right, so yesterday's ball game, obviously not ideal for the Suites. Just kind of going out of the loss. What are your feelings?
Disappointing one to kick off the six-game stretch here, especially here at home. I don't know. We didn't make adjustments quick enough in the way that we needed to. Their arm threw well.
Yeah.
Their starter going 7 innings is 7 innings in the West Coast League is a solid start no matter what, and kept us off balance, and we took too long to make adjustments, and they had a good approach to what they were trying to do. So we learned from yesterday. We move on to today, and it's a new day when we show up at the park.
When a guy's rolling like that, what do you do to try to kind of break some of that rhythm?
Yesterday we didn't do enough, I would say.
Right, obviously, but looking back.
Yeah, I would say trying to find other ways to generate some offense. We've talked about, hey, is there a way for us to use bunt as a weapon, a little bit more, try to drop some drag bunts down with some of our guys that can run. In
the third inning, you scraped a run across, and then from that point on, the offense went dormant, but there was some life early on.
Yeah, I think it's easy, especially with younger hitters, to feel like as we're starting to struggle offensively with a certain guy that, hey, I need to try to hit our way out of things and, try to swing it to make offense go. And so, I think we were maybe a little bit too selective in certain counts when we took too many good pitches, and then we swung at the pitches that he wanted us to swing at.
Right.
And so I think it's making those adjustments there approach-wise, trying to find any other way that we can get on base, doing a little bit better job with 2 strikes, heavy slider away last night, and so trying to scoot up on the plate a little bit and take that pitch away. But, those are some of the small adjustments we've talked about, and we'll see what we can do going in today.
Looking at the starting pitching for the Suites tonight, Nakoa back out there on the hill. A really good start in Yakima, then in Portland. So-so, not bad, not great. What, going into that, how do you kind of find that Yakima version of Nakoa here early on in the season?
Yeah, I think for him it's just commanding the baseball in the zone, as it is for most people. I'm not too worried about him. I thought Portland, he threw it just fine, and we're a couple swings away from that ball game being a little bit different.
Yeah.
For him also, that was the first time throwing to Estabrook, a guy who had just shown up at the time, and so I think there's some getting to know each other and how guys like to pitch, and so he'll be working with Beasley behind the plate today, and guys they're starting to get familiar with each other, starting to learn how they can attack, what makes them effective. And so I think if he can do a good job of finding the zone early in counts, and he's going to give us as good a chance as anybody.
For the most part yesterday, a couple steals from the NorthPaws, but nothing out of the ordinary. And you look at them, 30 steals more than second place right behind them in the West Coast League. Nikhil Beasley, first time facing them, you tell them the same thing you told Owen.
Yeah, be ready to go, but be ready to throw. They're going to look for ways to take bags, and they didn't run in high volume yesterday, but it seemed like a lot of the runs that they did get were get on with an error, a single, and then it turns into a double because they're able to take a bag, and then it only takes one hit to score them. So we saw that a couple of times, which was great offense on their part. They're putting pressure on us, and I think for him, it's, hey, go out there, be ready. For Nakoa, it's, hey, slide step, and we got to make sure we're quick to the plate to give Nikhil a chance to throw. But I think we did a decent job of handling it. I think there's more meat left on the bone, but also not a atrocious job in the first game. So I thought we adjusted to that well, and we had a decent plan of attack. So
this is a generality, but the Swedes have a lot of these guys with a lot of potential, a lot going to these big D1 schools. And you look on the other side, Kamloops, experience, maybe not so much the UCLA, the Stanfords of the world, but played a lot of baseball. How do you balance kind of, okay, they've played more baseball than us, but we've got to go out there and act like we've been playing college ball for the last few years, and it's hard.
Yeah, no, it's definitely hard. There's not really a replacement for experience. It's a cliche saying, in all industries, but I think for us it's coming out and trusting that our tools can win if we play with good energy, if we put the pressure back on them. I think we can put pressure on them in similar ways, and also in some different ways than how they put pressure on us. And we saw a little bit of maybe for the first time, a bit of a grittier approach at the plate. You saw some of those guys, like, they would get fastball and they just slap it the other way for a single, right? Or find a way to sneak it through the 4-hole for a single. And so maybe not swinging to do as much damage, but when it gets strung together, that's kind of how they kind of felt a little bit like death by paper cut. You know,
Yeah.
it was like one run here, one run here,
True,
one run
yeah.
here, and
there wasn't that big blow up inning.
No.
That's kind of what I noticed. Also, when calling the game, is just one run there, one run here.
Yeah.
And there was opportunities for the Sweets on the other side to kind of do the same thing, but it's been that blow up inning for the Sweets offensively that really been the thing. What do you tell guys with the runner on third base? Like, let's just do the simple stuff here.
Yeah, I think the guys know what they need to do, and
Yeah.
they're doing a good job for the most part. We talked about today being a little bit better, like during batting practice. We had
Sure.
some repetition and being a little bit better in certain counts. When it's an advantage count, we can't miss it. And we can't make an easy out in an advantage count. If we're gonna make an out in an advantage count, we need to put the pressure on their defense and not let it be a rollover ground ball or an easy fly ball for them to just run underneath. And with 2 strikes, hey, we need to put the ball in play and force our defense to make plays. Playing on a field that yesterday, first time they're out here, they've never seen before, and obviously it's a fantastic playing surface, but it still is a new environment, and so try to put a little more pressure on them in all counts. Make them earn what they get.
So your team coach, second in the West Coastal League in walks per game. You have over 100 on the season, 1 in every 5 at-bats, a free pass 90 feet. The mentality going into that, is it a strategy? Is it luck early on? What is it?
You're talking offensive, right?
Offensive,
okay,
yes.
Okay.
Good thing.
Yes. Okay, just to make sure.
1 in every 5 at-bats.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
I think early on we were capitalizing on that. I think it's kind of what I was talking about earlier. It's being ready to go on the pitches that we should hit and maybe knowing which ones are not the ones to go on. I think we're making a few more early count outs than we did early on.
Okay.
But also as pitchers are getting more settled in, the walk numbers are going to tend to go down, right? And the free pass numbers are going to tend to go down. We faced some good pitching staffs the last couple weeks, and so not surprised to see that number going down a little bit of just our number of walks per game, but we're still doing a good job and finding ways to get on base. And now it's, hey, if we do get the walk, and we do find our way on base, how can we utilize, get the timely hit? How can we get the team at bat to move guys around and then drive them in with 2 outs and with under 2 outs?
Nate Stuyvesant, he enters the line for the first time today. Stanford kid, don't know much about him. I don't know what you know, but what do you expect?
Yeah, I think he's going to be a solid defender. Play a little bit second base, third base. He's going to be at second base tonight. That's where he's played the majority of his time in the infield back at school. So add another talented infielder to the mix of the squad that we've already kind of have assembled. And I'm expecting for him to go out there. It's fresh legs. It's a guy who's got excitement to be here and who's ready to go out and play. Comes from a program that's highly regarded and does things in a professional manner, goes about their business with a good workmanship, and so I'm excited to see him go out there, leave it all out on the field, see what he's got, and a great addition to the team.
Right, for sure. All right, so the Colby question of the day today is Walk Your Dog Wednesday for the first time in the ballpark. Hey, are you excited to see furry friends out in the background?
Of course I am. Yeah, I'm a dog guy. I'm excited to see the pups out here.
Not worried about the dogs running on the field and Marley and me or anything.
Hopefully
like that.
not. Hopefully not. If it happens, that's how it goes.
All right.
But,
so what's your favorite animal? And if it's a dog, and even if it's not a dog, what's your favorite type of dog?
So my favorite dog, I would say a tie between, or my favorite animal is a tie between dogs and horses.
Nice. Horse guy.
Yeah.
There you go.
Kind of cool.
Nice,
I don't know. I've always
Walla's
never had
horses
one,
running
but
around.
Walla, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Dogs, I have a black lab golden retriever mix at home named Ruthie. She's about to turn 5, so I like lab retrievers, so I've got a mix of them both. So it's great. But that's my favorite dog breed.
Did you have a dog growing up?
I did. Yeah, I've had a chocolate lab growing up, and so I guess I've always had a lab mix of some sort.
Okay.
So,
nice.
But
water dogs.
Yeah,
there you go.
Exactly. He loves the water.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, hopefully the Sweets can find the pool out in right center field tonight. Who knows?
Who knows?
We'll have
Maybe.
to see. We'll have to see.
Maybe.
All right. It's another edition of Countdown with Colby. Thanks so much as always.
Thanks, Drew. Yeah,
Yes,
go Sweets.